What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video, aka how Yo-Yo got a groove back. While this episode had a lot of promise, not only visiting a big period of Inhuman history and a potential meeting of Daisy and her mother, we instead got a filler vision quest with Yo-Yo, which was okay, but in this kind of late game of the show, I hate to see them wasting episodes, which was pretty much what they've done here. Before we dive into the full episode breakdown, there will be spoilers, and if you're new to the channel, then please do consider subscribing with notifications on to never miss a video. And if you like the video, then please do drop a like down below as well, because it helps us out massively with this awful YouTube algorithm. The start of the episode seemingly runs concurrently with last episode, as it shows the time drive breaking and jumping shorter and shorter intervals. I must admit, I watched this first 4 minutes a couple of times thinking, hold on, have I got the right episode here? This is why Mac and Deke were left behind to pretty much had to wait a year to be saved. And to be honest, like I said, I found it very jarring and just a very weird way to actually open the episode. I feel this could have been added to last week's episode, which again seemed to be filler, but Mac and Deke return, and it's revealed how the issue with the time drive is that, well, you just have to jump and jump and jump because it ain't working. Time is actually getting shorter and shorter, or at least the time jumps are getting shorter and shorter, and eventually they will just collapse in on themselves. I wonder if they go to the quantum realm. No, probably not, because this show doesn't seem to want to connect that much to the wider MCU, even in its final season. The only way to fix the time drive is to remove the fuel regulator, but there is an issue as there are energy waves going over it, and you have to be fast to remove it. Cue the Sonic theme tune. One problem is their speedster has lost their mojo, baby, and she needs to bounce back like Alan Partridge to actually save everyone's lives. Oh, what a coincidence. It's 1983, and what's around in 1983? Well, Afterlife. The village of the Inhumans is still up and running. Daisy's mother, Jin Yang, is an expert in helping Inhumans because, well, she is one of them. May and Yo-Yo actually head there as Daisy had left on board, eliminating one of the most interesting interactions that the show could have produced. Ji Yang is an Inhuman who can absorb life force, which means she cannot age and has been around since World War II and was even tortured by Daniel Whitehall, but that all happened in 1989. The timeline is very confusing by this point in Season 7, and all this time hopping isn't making it any easier. Funnily enough, the one who Nathaniel actually sought for advice was Daniel Whitehall. So I would imagine that we might see some huge kind of culmination, and I'm really liking the Malik actual being the villain of this season. As Agent May and Yo-Yo arrive in Afterlife, they see a young woman trying to escape, being chased by Gordon, which is also a big character from the show, and Ji Yang's enforcer, Shadow Knife Man, I'm going to call him. She is Cora and desperate to escape, which highlights that Afterlife may not be all it's turned out to be, but our interaction this episode makes it look quite nice. May and Yo-Yo turn up at the village, and Yo-Yo mentions she was poisoned and lost her powers. She's given a diviner, which is actually used to contain Terrigen crystals. And, well, if you touch them and you're human, you're gonna die. That's pretty much the long and short of it there. She proves that she is an Inhuman by touching it and stroking it all over her face because she's got plastic arms. Ji Yang agrees to help, and May is noticed to have empathetic powers, and, well, they're getting stronger and stronger, because she doesn't need to touch someone to see how they're feeling. Also, Ji Yang seems to put Yo-Yo in an Inhuman spa, gives her acupuncture to slowly get her powers back, which we see as she tries to stop Shadow Knife Man, and it is all in her head. She then goes on a vision quest with Agent May and uncovers some traumatic things from her past. But over the course of the episode, we see the Inhuman Cora trying to escape, a character we haven't seen yet, but it turns out that her powers are great and she's actually unable to control them, meaning she keeps blowing up Afterlife non-stop. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, and is mentioned to have done this quite a few times, and she escapes with a gun to try and shoot herself with glowing eyes. So we then cut to her, and, well, her gun is dismounted by Nathaniel Malik, the resident bad boy, as he shouldn't actually exist, and lets her know that Afterlife is a cult, and he's here to destroy it and wants her help. He's forming his own version of the Brotherhood of Evil Inhumans here. I'm not sure why they made him look like a school shooter. He really does look like the edgy guy who plays a bit too much of the high school map on Counter-Strike. Simmons leaves a message for Fitz in the future in the event that they cannot actually make it out, and that the Zephyr will be left in 1983. We still have no idea where he is. I think he has infiltrated the Chronicons, or he's arrived at a time in a sort of nexus of time. SuperHeroNexus? Yeah, enough of that. Outside of the time stream. We then see Nathaniel attack Afterlife as Cora calls Ji-Yang mother, which is a total bombshell. This means that Daisy actually has a half-sister, and it wasn't until a few years later that Daisy's father, Calvin Zabo, arrived and Ji-Yang actually got married to him. I can't help but feel that having Daisy there would have been a lot more interesting, along the lines of her pretending she's someone else, and having her sent with Yo-Yo would be a bit more interesting, especially with that bombshell. It's not clear if she's a time anomaly or not, much like that of Nathaniel, and if she's supposed to actually exist, because she hasn't been mentioned in the show so far. So I hope that's something they answer in the next episode, or I hope someone gets fired for that blunder. Ji-Yang and Gordon escape with May and Yo-Yo, but Gordon teleports Ji-Yang somewhere safe as the timeline is messed up once again. And does this mean Hydra won't actually invade Afterlife and take her and a few other Inhumans? May and Yo-Yo arrive back, and Yo-Yo got a groove back, baby, and fixes the time drive. Coulson is also being fixed too while this is all happening, but he's put on ice at the end of the episode, and they get ready to jump again. But Nathaniel now has an army of Inhumans to do what he actually wants with. I'm unsure if he's going to steal their powers, or he's simply just going to use them as pawns and cause anarchy like he said. Very edgy. Now, next week looks very curious, so spoilers ahead for next week. The team are trapped in a time storm to live out a Groundhog Day episode, which is very funny considering I just watched the great Palm Springs this weekend, and a breakdown of that is on my channel. They need to escape this, and I presume Enoch and Coulson will be the constants throughout the entire episode, but I really do like the idea. Groundhog Day stuff is pretty funny. But again, they're usually gimmick episodes, so they're very late in the game here, and I want to see some more answers of what's going on, where Fitz is, and how they're going to save the day, because I feel something big is coming, because we didn't have the Chronicons explicitly this episode, so to speak. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you enjoy the episode? Please drop a like as well, as it does help us out massively, and subscribe with notifications on if you want more videos, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.